Thank you very much for joining us in studio this morning, Lebogang. And maybe just start off by some of the biggest challenges that come about when trying to access the property industry, particularly in what I would call untapped places like the townships, for example.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. I think the biggest challenge in South Africa is affordability, because most South Africans, they earn very, very little. I mean, we have over 75% of the population of South Africa that earns less than 15,000 rand per household. And we're looking at about a household income of about 6 people in that particular household. So as a result of that, very less people are able to afford these accommodation spaces. And when we're talking rental in the townships, for instance, you're looking at, for instance, in the townships, your options are either a back room or you stay at home. But if you don't have a home in the township and you don't want to stay in the back room, so you are forced to go into suburban areas. So as a result of that, when you are going into suburban areas, affordability becomes an issue because that market comes at a premium. So people can afford to stay in suburban areas, but at the same time, they don't have a comfortable, secured, but yet affordable space that they can access in the townships or around the townships or in the suburban areas themselves.
Then talk us through investment in accommodation of the property industry within the township. Are we seeing that kind of development? And also, are we seeing enough investment in terms of funding going into the development of township property industries?
Unfortunately, there hasn't been much economic activities that are going into the townships and developments that are going into that. That's when we decided to make sure that we take it upon ourselves and make it our responsibility to transform our townships and make sure that we bring a bit of this lifestyle living apartments in and around townships, but we make them affordable as well. So we are creating a comfortable, secured environment for our developments in the townships so that our people can access better living conditions that are dignified, that they can be proud to live in, and at the same time they can as well afford to stay in these type of places.
Yeah, and how are you doing that? Where are you getting the resources? The property industry is no doubt a very expensive industry to get into and of course remain sustainable. So how is it that you are making this happen? Are there any other stakeholders or partnerships that have come on board?
We have started a private equity fund under Bizz House Capital, whereby people are subscribing and buying shares in the property equity fund, and then we use those funds to develop in these particular areas and ensure that we transform our townships and bring these lifestyle affordable accommodation spaces in the townships by ensuring that the stakeholders themselves can be the communities that we are building in. Anyone that wants to invest in the property investment space, but they don't have the necessary equity that is required for them to invest in property, they can invest at the fraction of the cost by just buying shares in private equity funds that invest in property investments and property developments.
Yeah, you said something that's very important a second ago, lifestyle developments. That is something that's growing quite significantly across the country, and this is what young people who are looking to invest in property are looking forward to. Just talk us about this unique way of building developments, the lifestyle, what it's all about, and why it's important to introduce this unique kind of establishment to the township when you're trying to attract property investors there.
I think everyone wants a comfortable space for them to live in, and our homes and the places that we live in are the places that we now spend most of our time in. So as a result of that, most people are now working from home. Most people are now spending more time at home than they used to in the past. So as a result of that, they want a space that they can do almost everything within. A space that is very comfortable for them to live in, that is dignified, they can be proud to live in as well. They can access services such as your internet services. They can have entertainment areas if they want to entertain themselves. They can even feel secured when they are staying in these type of places, and at the same time they can afford to stay in these type of places. So these are the type of developments that we're bringing in the township, and we're ensuring that everyone as well, they are able to also participate in the ensuring that the development becomes a success by having their money work for them instead of them having to work for money all the time. So by investing in these type of developments, we've broken the barrier down from millions of rands to just a mere minimum of 5,000 rand into our equity fund. So people can buy and subscribe to these shares from as little as 5,000 rand per investor.
Yeah, that's one unique proposition that you have. But in a market that's already very saturated, what other unique propositions are you putting forward?
We are bringing a product that is needed by the communities themselves. We are bringing a product that is not there in the market. Most developers, they develop on the medium to high end market, and as a result of that, in the townships, most people are still developing back rooms. So we are bringing a bit of these suburban areas products into the township, but with the township price. So we're making sure that our people, they can still afford to stay in these affluent places that we're bringing in the townships, but without them having to break the bank in order for them to do that.
Yeah. Are you optimistic about the property sector? You've seen what's happened since the advent of the pandemic in 2020. It's been an opportunity for first-time buyers because of interest rates being so low.
Yes.
But the sector in general has suffered quite a bit, particularly the corporate side, office spaces and so. But when you look at residential property and the outlook for the sector, what is it that you're seeing as Bizz Homes?
I think as Bizz House, we're seeing an opportunity because regardless of our current economic market, people always need a place to stay. And if you can make your accommodation spaces affordable for people to be able to access it, you won't lack tenants into your development. So that's an opportunity for us to ensure that we're breaching the gap, because we have a backlog in South Africa in terms of our housing backlogs. So we have a responsibility to ensure that we don't only look at the government to ensure that people have a place to stay, but as a private sector, we need to ensure that we come in and we play our role in ensuring that we're transforming our townships themselves, we're transforming our communities, and we're ensuring that we're creating jobs as a result of that, and sustainable jobs for that matter. So we need to ensure that we create a total economic activity in the townships where most of our people are in, and we're ensuring that if we continuously create an economic activity, that impacts in other industries as well. Because if you have one person that is earning an income, so of which the average household is about 6 people, so that means that one person is able to put food on the table for about 6 people, and with that brings a buying power into the community itself. And when there's a buying power now, the economic activity continues. There's a ripple effect that impacts into a value chain of our economy in South Africa.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. Lebogang Lebepe there from Bizz House, joining us to talk about the opportunities to participate in the property industry.